running to the surf with this little puppy. You'd drop it in, it'd probably sink. Well, it might not sink because I did chamber the middle bit, but it is quite a beast, isn't it? The surfboard at the back there, that's a collaborative project I started back in 2009 with Jim Banks, who's a very highly regarded, well, initially a pro surfer who walked away from pro surfing and basically just started looking for new frontiers for surf in Indonesia, and really played a big part in opening up Indonesia and discovering some of the incredible waves up there. But he's also an amazing surfboard shaper. I've been riding his boards for years and years now. So I kind of knew Jim, and he always had a love for timber. So he came to my studio in Narrabeen. And the first piece we created was that 9-foot gun of his, which is from the design out of what he calls his Hit the Road collection, made for riding big waves. And of course, Jim's from Cronulla in New South Wales, but he used to love coming to WA and surfing in the northwest up at the Red Bluff. So he really designed those boards to surf, you know, our heavy waves here in WA of Margaret River and Bommy and boat ramps, but also the northwest, Red Bluff and Nalu. So that was an amazing project to do, was to be able to create a piece like that surfboard. Let's just have a bit of a look at it. So the timber in this came from an old jetty in Greenhills out the back of York. At the time that we had a big studio up there in an old flour mill, and we bought these old bridge timbers, and the Jarrah in that bridge, the timbers for that bridge, they were cut in the early 1900s, probably from trees that would have been, you know, 500 or 600 years old, so well before European settlement. So just amazing to be able to use materials like that. And of course, it's not surfable, it's way too heavy, weighs about 60 kilos. I hollowed out these two sections, they've been chambered, just to take a bit of weight out of it, but it still weighs about 60 kilos. I'll take it down and we'll just have a look at the way I've done the fins on it, eh? Because it's worth a look. It's quite, it's almost like the GBSCS system. It's quite heavy, but it's not bad if you just roll it the right direction. Yeah, I can't quite imagine running to the surf with this little puppy. You'd drop it in, it'd probably sink. Well, it might not sink because I did chamber the middle bit, but it is quite a beast, isn't it? Look at it. I definitely wouldn't want to wax it up. I mean, look at that. I kind of feel like I'm blowing my own trumpet a bit, but it is amazing the way it's just, I mean, we built this in 2009, so what's that? 14 years ago. Is it? Yeah. There's been no sinking or undulation in the thickness like this. She oak, Jarrah, she oak. It looks like I've put an extra pin line. I reckon that's because we needed a bit more width in it. I've thrown an extra pin line of Jarrah either side of that she oak for some reason. There's the dimensions on it. So it's a 9.0, 19 1/4, 3 3/16 thick. So this would have been his standard Hit the Road design at the time. They're very different now. His Hit the Roads now, I think he's doing his twin fins, and of course, because of the way we've built it, I couldn't use rathings and glass to put the fins in, so I kind of just created my own little, just a GB fin box. So just a little press fit, kind of like they do in FCS. But you know, that's actually got, it's done properly. It's actually got proper cant built into it. So you see the tab at the bottom is kicked off. So I've created that cant of a fin. And that's just by shaping it at the right angle and then making it fit, and then it just presses in there. And I figured that, you know, these are art pieces. It's going to end up goodness knows where around the world. So for transport, you wouldn't want the fins in it, they'll just get snapped. So they all come out. Yeah, I just can't help run my hands over it. It's just so silky. It's finished in an oil finish. Jim's a bit of a purist, so he kind of helped get me started on the journey with oil. I was already on it, but it, you know, helped cement to me the idea of not having a lacquer over timber, just having, you know, I'm just touching the wood here, and it's just been sanded to a very fine finish, which gives it a sheen. and the oil just seals it and nourishes it, so it doesn't, it helps protect it. Kind of how the Hawaiians did their original boards out of koa. They didn't have glass back in those days. I don't know if they used any oil or the koa was just naturally resilient to water, but yeah, it's beautiful. And all these little, the way the tucked under rail, it's got proper rails on it. If it was not 60 kilos, it would be fully surfable, this board, and it would go great at a wave like Big Margs, Bommy, boat ramps, one of those sort of waves. It was really, it's a thrill to have been able to work on something like this with Jim. He's such a great bloke and just such an amazing designer and super intelligent character, actually. Too intelligent for the pro surf circuit, that's for sure. Even got his tail rocker built into it. Beautiful nose rocker. Yeah, it's an artwork, and whoever ends up owning this, they're going to have a piece of Australian history. There's absolutely no doubt about it. If no one buys it, well, me and Jim will own it. That won't matter either. We don't care. It doesn't help that I just love surfboards in general. Someone said to me, how many surfboards is too many? And I said, there's no such number. Righto, let's load it back on. There she blows.